So if I called you tomorrow or told you right now, hey, I need you to make me a hat, how long are you looking at right now?
A year.
1 year.
1 year. So the step that you don't hear about, right, is that you call me and you tell me that you want your hat. And I order it, send you the conformer, you put the halo on your head, pick your color, the whole 9 yards, you send it all back to me. I make the phone call to my felter. When I call my felter and tell them that I need a felt for Joe, they guarantee it in 11 months.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So if you had stock, it would be quicker?
If I had stock, it wouldn't be quicker. I go as fast as I can go with the felts that I've got. So I've got, as you can see, I got a pile of felts behind me right now. And so now we're building 4 hats every day, nonstop. NFR season's rolled around. I've got to make sure that I've got plenty of felts for displays and to show off different styles and things. And so, yeah, we're trying to do 5 hats a day. We get surges. We go to shows, go to the National Finals Rodeo and sell there for 10 days. We get a bunch of orders. So they all show up in a big old grove. We go like hell for every day, and it seems like our stockpile just really doesn't ever go away. But
is that the only show you do?
no, we do 3. Used to do anything I could get my hands on. Used to do a lot of ranch rodeos, rein and cow horse deals, snaffle bit fraternities, music festivals, things like that. Now we do the national finals in December. We do the National Bighorn Sheep Show, or the World Bighorn Sheep Show, or whatever the hell it's called, in Reno in January. And then straight to the Hunting Expo in Salt Lake City in February, and then we're home for the rest of the year.
So do you conform people at those shows?
That's what we do. That's all we do. We do it every day. I live in the middle of nowhere, as you guys know. It took you a long time to get here. My closest airport is Las Vegas, so it's 2.5 hours south. If you want to get your head measured by me, you've got to fly to Vegas, catch a plane or catch a rent-a-car, drive over here, make sure I'm around, or I can send you that conformer in the mail. And if you're going to be in Vegas during the NFR, or if you're going to be at the sheep show or anything like that, then I can measure you in person right there, and that's what we seem to do, is measure a lot of heads there.
I think it was 200 miles of absolute nothing to get here. I want to say, absolute nothing. When I say nothing, it was just desert. We were lucky to find a gas station maybe 3 times.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and you came from Caldwell, right?
Right.
Yep. Yeah, that's a lonely old road. It's a lonely old road. So when you guys went through Wells,
Mm-hmm.
I lived 50 miles east of there is where I graduated high school.
Okay.
And I was planning on my youngest daughter graduated in 2021, and we were gonna move to Elko. As soon as she graduated high school, I was gonna move back to my hometown and open up a shop right there on the main street. Figured that you needed to have a shop in order to be able to stay busy as a hat maker. You needed to have a shop. And then COVID hit. And there's no way in hell that I'm ever going to let someone dictate whether I work or not. So it's a lot easier to stay right here in this state, right here in my shop, and work. If you want to wear a mask, then don't show up. If you want me to, then don't show up. You know, it's pretty simple. But I found out then the power of social media and how amazing you can just kind of live anywhere and just work, send it out. My UPS guy is my best friend. He's got to be, right? Like,
Yeah, he was actually here when we got here, and
Yeah.
it looked like you knew him pretty well.
I got to. I'm out in the middle of stinking nowhere, and I'm trying to ship off, anywhere from 4 to 7 hats a day. Like, sometimes they don't even have to run out here. Sometimes there's nothing to give them a reason to run out. And if there's not, then I need to call him and ask him if he still will. It's not like I can just run to the UPS store and drop these off. So I really had to. There's some pretty tough things about living out here and some really great things. But shipping is a little tough.
Do you ever get any walk-in customers?
Yeah, I try not to. I try to make sure that I've got, try to make sure that I know that they're coming. But we get a handful here and there. We get a lot of locals that come in for straws every year. And then again, we'll still have 10, 15 people fly to Vegas and come over to get their head measured. So we stay pretty busy with walk-ins. So podcasts. That's you. How long have you been doing podcasts?
4 years.
4 years.
Yeah. They've progressed over time.
Okay.
We started out in Austin, Texas, and it was just me with a couple of buddies doing a remote. Right? They would be on their camera. One was in Florida, one was in Georgia, and we would do kind of this thing, podcast. And then moved to Fort Worth, and I started like, let's get some guests in here. And then we did that. And then we, it just kind of progressed, right? And then when we wanted to do this school, we wanted to see how live would go, and then we rigged everything for live videos. So now we'll do a podcast live on Sundays. And
Right.
I mean, we're talking full production, 4 cameras,
Right.
switching,
Yeah, Joe Rogan.
Right.
Yeah.
Better.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Because his isn't live.
Right.
So yeah, she'll, she
But
runs
but
the
a
cameras
full
and
deal
stuff.
versus
Yeah.
a camera and that kind of stuff.
Right.
Just going around with your phone. That's how we do everything around here is with a damn phone.
Well, it works, right? The phone works.
It's amazing now.
Yeah.
It's
My
amazing.
my first probably dozen videos were done with one camera and a phone. I'd put the phone and I would use it in 4K, and I'd have a camera, and that way I could have 2 angles.
Right.
So,
And now
well,
you've got all
and
this.
so right, exactly. But there's 2 different platforms, right? You have the TikTok and the Reels where people know you from. I still prefer the YouTube format where it's kind of a movie, right? So that's the format we shoot in. So then you have to transfer everything to the Reel format in order to put it on there. So it's a lot of work.
Yeah. But that's what makes it unique. That's what makes it different, and that's what makes it better.
Yeah.
Like, people love your stuff, man. It's awesome. It's awesome. Okay. Let's.
So Sweatband is in,
Sweatband is in.
and it's done. Done. You're going to shape it now, or what's the next part of the process?
Yeah, that's it. I'll turn around and go through my list here and see what we've got to do next, right? We've got to put a 9-inch buckaroo rodeo in there with a cowpuncher crown, and then sew a ribbon on that son of a gun, and it'll be a done deal.
Cowpuncher, is that your West Texas punch? Is that what you call like a West Texas punch?
Yeah, I guess. I guess it would be. So, a West Texas punch is it's the same process, but like it's a little bit more aggressive. Like I don't know if you've seen. I did a reel the other day. We were talking
I saw
about
that.
the different cow punchers in there and the width
widths.
on it. When you get real narrow, and push those sides in. Give yourself a really good aggressive cutter bump on that sucker. That was kind of the West Texas that I remember growing up. And it was just a cowpuncher crown. I can't say anybody, maybe the West Texans called it a West Texas punch, but hell, the Arizonans wore them, and the Nevadans wore them, and the Idahoans wore them, and everybody wore them, but it was just a cowpuncher crown is what it was. So since then, it's kind of turned into the West Texas or whatever, I guess.
Interesting you're using a laser.
Oh, look at that.
We had to.
You know, I use a laser for shaping.
Do you?
I absolutely, and I had comments about it because it was in video. Most people don't get to see me shape. I talk to shapers, and I don't shape my own hats normally because that's what we do. We go and we talk to people. So they saw it for the first time in reels from us up in Idaho, and they say, "Are you using a laser?" And so that's very interesting that you are using a laser.
I had a guy come to work for me. We were shaping in Texas, and I had a guy out of California or Colorado show up and help me. Dang good friend of mine, and we were talking about the reasoning. I never do take a laser with me when we go to shows and we're shaping and stuff like that. I never do. But we're still using the same concept, right? That's center between the eyes. You've always got to mark center between the eyes, no matter what. Whether your center's here or whether your center's here, you've got to have a center between the eyes, and you've got to go off of that. You know how important it is for every 1/8 of an inch that you're off, right? Makes a huge difference out here. So if we're an 1/8 of an inch off right here, by the time we get to 4.5, we're off a lot.
Yeah.
And so as close as you can get is as good as it can be, right?
Yes, I agree. And when the brim is kind of moved to one side or one side's wider,
or
it drives me crazy. So what I'll do is I'll mark center here, and I'll use my laser just to find. I'll have a square on the table, and I'll use my laser to find my edges out here.
Yep. Genius. Genius. And so we're pretty much doing the same thing here. Go in and line that up.
I do not go that far, but
I will never go this far either unless I'm doing a cowpuncher.
okay.
Okay, and I've got to go this far if I'm doing a cowpuncher because it's really, really, really easy to throw. That's a very, very crazy shape,
Yeah.
right?
And interestingly enough, I used the laser to do one up in Idaho. So I found the lady's center, right? And then I centered the hat, and then I steamed it, and I had the laser running down the center, and I just did it all at once.
Yep. Genius. The best way to figure it out is to keep figuring out how to do it because you know dang good and well that if you put your push in, if you don't have that line or something to go off of, here, you're dead center. That has to be the same dead center as that, no matter what. And if you don't have it,
Yes.
completely.
I agree. And you're going to look at it from the top, and one side's going to be up here, and it's going to be all over the place.
Always. And you're 100% right when it comes to looking at the mirror, and you can tell that something is off. That little something that's off is a big deal.
Yeah. I thought I was the only one who's this crazy, man. I really did.
Well, you told me something when you first walked in. It kind of rang a bell.
Yeah, what's that?
Yeah, if you're a little OCD on being a perfectionist, right, that little off right there is going to throw you off big time. Like everything that you do that way is going to really throw you off. Something is off. It's not quite right. It took me years and years and years. A bulge on this side, a little bit of a bulge here will turn around and throw it off. Something here, the shape of the head will really throw things off. You'll see when we put it in here, when it comes to the brim shape, how things get way different.
We talked about this earlier. You got this nice reamer plugged in here, plumbed in. So do you have a setup that you take with you on the road when you go to your
I
shows?
do. Yeah. Yep. And we started out with just a simple steamer, you know, and started out with just a simple steamer and a simple box. We progressed big time. Big time.
So you marked your width that you want to be also, didn't you?
I did. I hate that when that sucker's off just a bit. You know what I mean? It's just sitting here or here. It drives me nuts.
Well, when you were talking about my OCD earlier, we're talking about, you know, just this little bit where that one side's in where I'll grab it sometimes and it gets tweaked.
So it's funny that you say that because I'm not that way as bad as you. For the fact it will be that way when it goes out the door to you. It's going to be perfect. But like I've been wearing this hat for 5 years, and so my take on and put off is there. The shape of my head is goofy. The shape of my head always turns around and curls things up right there, no matter what.
Really?
It's just the shape of my head. It's not the way that the hat is shaped. It's not anything. If I was to shape this hat different and let it sit, that sucker would be actually curled up on this side. It would be something like that because of the shape of my head. And when the hat fits you perfect, you're going to notice it all in that area. Go ahead.
So do you have to tweak that often?
I do.
Yeah.
I do on mine. And then I got to a point where if you'll see on some of my older hats, I just stopped. I'm like, I got to put it on. I got to make sure that everything's good, everything's nice and straight. But then I walk away from it and just on and off all day long, setting it here, doing my thing, whatever it is, changes it all around. So by the end of the day, it's pretty rough looking, but I don't worry about that. And that's what I tell people. Once you've got it, let it become you. You know what I mean? The shape of your head, you can't do anything about that. God gave you that shape. It's goofy, but God gave it to you, right? Let's just turn around and make the hat look good on you where it's there. And then if something comes up, if you're constantly here, let that be broke over. I don't get too carried away. A lot of people are here with their hats, you know, taking them on and off. A lot of people here. However you do it, don't worry about that afterward. You know, just let it be you.
So where'd you learn how to shape hats?
I didn't. I shaped myself because I hated. I grew up when I was supposed to. It was the right time, especially compared to nowadays. But in the cowboy hat world, Ty Murray was the king and George Strait was the king. So you either had a 4-inch crown, or a cattleman with a 4-inch brim, or you had a cattleman with a flatter 4 1/4-inch brim. That was your two options, right? Nobody wanted a Garth Brooks. Nobody wanted it completely drooped on both ends. And I didn't. I didn't want to look like any of that, so I shaped my own. And they always look like shit. But once you figure out how to manipulate felt, after ruining a whole bunch of them, it becomes pretty damn easy to figure out what is going to make, how to do it, you know? A lot of wide fronts in Idaho, or no?
Yeah. I mean, it was a mix, really. You know, I did some round 4-inch brims. I did some I think the biggest brim was 11 squared off. Did a lot of 6-inch round. It's kind of a variety.
Got you. She wants a buckaroo brim. So we're going to turn around and go really, really wide and really flat. We're going 9.5 inches wide on the crown or on the brim.
Is that a 4¼ inch brim?
4.5 on this one.
Okay. It looks smaller, maybe because the crown's smaller.
She's only got a 21 inch head, so she's a little 6 5/8.
That's the most proportional 6 5/8 hat I've ever seen, probably because it's got a 4.5 inch brim on it, right? Mm-hmm. Usually you got that small crown and small brim, and it looks off. Because
your crown is super small, but you still got to have the same height. Most of your hats that are finished, if you wanted a cattleman, okay, and your head's 21 inches, I'm gonna make that a 5-inch open crown. If you want a cattleman in it, okay, we're gonna be that tall. Because most of the time, if your head's that small, you want a 4-inch brim. So by the time I get a cattleman punched into a 5-inch versus a 5 3/4, it'll be a lot cleaner looking cattleman crown at 4 inches, right? Mm-hmm. So on here, she wanted to turn around and go with a really, really tall crown, so we finished it at 5 3/4. But then when you go with a 4.5, it turns around and brings everything down and makes it look proportional. So
that's pretty stiff.
It's good felt. It's good felt.
What quality is this one? This is
100%.
100%.
Yeah. Actually, that's a lie. That's a 50%
50.
beaver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when do you do the band? Does this one get a ribbon or a band?
That one's going to get a ribbon.
Okay.
Yep. But we've got 3 or 4 there, so we can kind of step over and do whatever you want now. We've got ribbon here.
You want to finish that hat with a ribbon, or whatever you want to do.
Well, it don't matter.
I'd love to see how you do bows, because I don't think we've ever shown that before.
Okay. Sounds good. We'll finish this one up then.
And bows are pretty popular this year.
Are they?
Yeah.
You mean ribbon or bows? Like, I don't understand. Explain.
So do you do a bow on your ribbon, or do you just...
Every one.
Okay. So ribbons with bows are kind of popular this year.
So do they make a hat with a ribbon but no bow?
Yeah. So, you can do a 4-line with a kind of a knot, right? It's not, it doesn't really look like a bow.
Right. That's a good point.
And that's kind of traditional almost,
If you go traditional, if you're going with a lined ribbon, right?
Right.
So if a 2-line or like a 2-ply or a 4-ply ribbon or something like that, it's traditional to do that. But when you get into these lighter ones, it's really not to turn around and have tails on it.
Mm-hmm. Right. So even without tails, you could all of our straw are 4-line with a kind of a overlapped finished knot, right?
Got you. Just a knot over it without a bow.
Yeah.
I'll be damned. So I guess that would probably be the difference between like a custom guy and not. Like you'd have to be pretty damn picky to not get it. You'd have to be very specific to not get a bow on a hat from me.
Right.
That's just what you do in the custom world, I think.
And I think the bows look fantastic, especially when you go wider. What is that, like a 6-line?
Yeah, we go 5/8. We don't do the line ribbon.
Yeah.
But this would be a 6 or close enough. It's 5/8.
Yeah.
So. Are you born and raised Texican?
I am actually 100% Mexican.
Really? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Sinaloa, which is
Really? Yes, I know Sinaloa.
Really?
Or I shouldn't. I've never been, but I know what you're talking. I know where you're talking about.
So you start with so it's a two-piece, separate bow, and
Yes, I don't like a one piece. Personally, I like the way that my two-piece bows or my two-piece ribbons go all together better.
so if somebody requests a different ribbon on one of our straws or one of our hats that's in stock, we'll do it like this, and I don't have the ability, the knowledge to sew it on, so we glue them on.
On a straw or on a felt?
On a straw.
Okay, I don't blame you on a straw, bud.
On a felt, I usually get those. I'll take them up to Jeff and have him do it.
Have him do 'em. Absolutely.
Well, look, you are doing everything by hand. You have no machinery in here. I don't even consider that your plater, machinery.
Right.
So you have no automation at all.
Right.
I think your laser's probably the most
That's the
automated
highest
thing.
tech. That and my damn computer or credit card swiper. Those things are pretty damn fancy. But yeah, other than that, you're right. Everything is done right here like this. And
so Bigger, he came from a production side, right? He worked at American Hat for, 10 years.
okay.
And so he knows that production side of it, and that's kind of how he makes hats on a more automated scale.
You bet. That's awesome.
And it's still not automated, right? He's still using 100-year-old machinery, but, he has that probably mind frame, right? This is how we can make hats faster.
And that's the difference. Like, so I had a guy ask me the other day. He said, "What would you change?" I said, "Nothing." I said, "You wouldn't make yourself be any faster?" And I said, "More productive, yes. I'm constantly striving for more productive, right? But I feel that you're going to lose some of that, whatever it is that makes it mine, you're going to lose that if you get too carried away and too fast." So even I think hell, Joe, if my stupid little broken machine that I just sewed my sweatband in with, right? If that 1107 turned around and worked, I don't know if I would still, because my sweatbands are sewn in better than done with the machine because I'm doing it by hand.
So did you run it through, and I know you said that the piece was broken in the bottom, so did you run it in there just to get the holes?
Just to poke my holes. That's all I did, was just to poke my holes, because it's a pain in the ass to turn around and sew into that. That felt is extremely dense, right? When you're dealing with 100% beavers, you're dealing with an extremely dense felt. My favorite tool, like a pair of damn pliers, just so that I keep from shoving the needle through the other end of my thumb. And that's pretty much it.
So let me guess, you're gonna hand stitch this too?
But we do it all. It's going to be a while, so if we need to switch to something else, we can do it. But yeah, we've got about 6 stitches we got to throw in here before we move on to the next step.
Yeah. So what do you think you do more of right now, ribbons or self bands?
I've always been 50-50.
Yeah.
Always. Trends come, I'll throw beads on. Beads will become a trend. Feathers become a trend. There's so many different trends that will come along. But traditional, in my world anyway, is a custom ribbon or a custom felt with a buckle. So that's all I do. Like, we'll get some fancy ribbons and different things, but I'll bet you 50% of them are ribbons, 50% are self felts.
What does this little thing mean?
That's my brand. So that's the Bar Walking J on there, and you'll see it kind of on everything that I've got. So my brand is just kind of stashed out there and everything.
Bar Walking J.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh, that's cool. Is that leather?
Yeah.
Hat patches are big right now. You get a lot of requests for patches as well.
No, I don't. I'm custom, but I'm also a dick. And so I don't want to turn around and muddle up. If you want a patch on a felt, I'll send you one. I'm not going to put it on there for you. You know, you want it burned, go to somebody else.
So no distressing.
No. Your distressing should come from wearing it. Please just wear your hat. Wear it every day. If you want it to turn around and look like beat up and wore out, wear it. I don't want to do that for you. I want you to do it. I want that thing. We can distress it and I can put stains in there and all the crap that you want put on it and the whole 9 yards, but I only make high-end felts. So let Mother Nature and your sweat do the work rather than having me doing it for you early. Joe, there's a set of scissors hanging right there on the top. Find me a knot, something that'll look good on a black hat, and give me a 3/8 inch, 3/8 wide.
Okay.
Give me a 4-line or whatever you call it. Give me a couple inches of it, about 4 inches or so.
Okay.
Please.
You know, I'm gonna go maroon or gray. I like the maroon. I think that'll be a little contrast.
Beautiful, good choice.
Have you ever been recognized? Do you get, now that you're kind of all over social media, do you get recognized and people say, "Hey, aren't you the guy from TikTok or Instagram?"
All the time now.
Yeah.
All the time, and it's weird. It is extremely weird. Have you ever heard of cowboy poetry?
As an account or?
No.
Yeah, I know what cowboy. Yeah, cowboy poetry. Yeah.
Okay. So my dad is the only cowboy poet who has ever turned around and made a living doing it.
Is that right? Okay.
Okay. So I turn around and watch that transition. I watched him go from being just this cowboy guy to being all of a sudden like these girls are, "Hey, can I get a picture with you, or will you sign this autograph and stuff?" And it blew my mind. I'm like, holy cow, this is nuts. And then 2023 NFR, like I spent more time taking pictures and, kind of a lot of it. I've never done that before. I'm not very good at it, but I didn't realize that it was a thing,
So this is a pretty small town. What, about 600 people, maybe?
187.
All right. 187. Yep. I was way off. So you probably know everybody in town.
Yep.
And what do they think of?
They don't even know what I do.
They don't have any idea.
Most of them don't.
They're not on social media either, huh?
No. And if they do, they don't follow hats, or they don't follow this, or they don't follow that.
Cedar City? How about Cedar City? You go into Cedar City often and get recognized there?
No.
No?
Not at all. No.
Just kind of at the events you go to?
I can be in an airport and have somebody walk up and ask, "Hey, are you Chaz?" Oddball places, I'll have them ask, but not in town as much as you'd think. But then again, we go for groceries once a month. So that's the only time we go to town.
So have you ever figured how many hours you have in each hat?
A lot. And it changes with every one of them. There's days that I wish I was building nothing but grizzlies, It depends on how carried away we get. A bound edge is going to take a lot longer. I'm probably an hour longer on a bound edge than if I was to not have a bound edge. It all comes in on your sewing. It all comes in on what they want. I used to get kind of carried away. We buck stitched a lot of buck stitched a lot of brims and did a lot of things like that. So I could see where we could get 15, 20 hours in on a hat. But like hands-on, 8, 9, but it's still 4 days.
Yeah.
It don't matter how you look at it. From the time that I block it until it's done, it's going to be 4 days. So try to keep my rotation going that way. If I don't block hats for a day, I'm resting for a day. If I don't have a hat sitting on a block, then I'm not going to be able to work 3 days from then. So you got to make sure that all your steps are in order all the time.
Since you've gained more notoriety kind of through the internet and through social media, have you thought about maybe scaling up your business side of it, your production side?
Thought about it, yes. But that never went farther than that, Joe. And I don't know if it ever will. I would like a bigger... my wife works for me, and my son works for me. And that's it. If I want to get any busier than this, I need to bring on another hatter.
Yeah.
And as you can tell in my little 800 square foot home, or my shop, that doesn't work. You know what I mean? 3 people in here, there's just not enough room to do that. So, and I've watched a lot of people really making that climb, right? Really trying to make that climb, and they get up there, and once they get up there, they don't know what to do with it. And they don't know how big they want to get, and pretty soon, Trent is an amazing human. Trent Johnson, owner of Greeley Hat Works, is an artist. There is no doubt, 100%. But overnight, he went from having 3 or 4 guys in his hat shop to having 15. You know, the day that they turned around and dropped Yellowstone, he had to quadruple his goddamn outcome, and now you can go down to the stockyards, you can buy a Greeley Hat Works hat off the shelf, all that. I always thought that that's where you needed to be. Charlie One Horse's story tickled me to death, because how else is a hatter supposed to retire? They can't. You just work until the day you're dead. And then your widow is in charge of everybody that you didn't make that hat for, that you've taken a deposit on, but the hat's not finished. Now they either have to find someone to make that hat or pay them back. So it's a lose-lose situation. Being a hat maker is not this amazing deal where it's like, holy shit, we get to make all these hats and make all this money. No, it doesn't ever end. That's how we survive, is just working. If I was to turn around and get ahead, that means I wouldn't have any hats sitting there, right? So I need to make sure that I'm not far enough ahead. The light at the end of the tunnel needs to stay right about there. Okay, you got to be able to see it, and you got to be able to make it. You got to be able to reach that light. But if that light gets right there, then you start to panic. Holy shit, I'm not doing a good enough job. I'm too busy here. I'm not getting enough orders in, this and that. My brain does goofy things. So what I say now is that you want to make it to the top. I haven't been there yet. I want to see what it feels like. But the second I get up there, I want to step back down one and make sure that everything's perfect. Like, if you take the extra time to make sure that that hat is perfect, and the extra time to make sure that everything about it is right, you don't seem to have that drive and that want when it's not there, if it's not needed. Well, hell, I've got money today. I can sleep in. You don't want, I need to have that. I need to have that reason to get out of bed and go to work. It's how my brain works. Anyway.
Do you enjoy what you do?
I love it. I was a horseshoer by trade, bud. That's what I did for a living. That's a shitty line of work. You don't do that full time. If you do, if you're a horseshoer for your whole life, you're about 3 foot tall, because your back never gets about right higher than that, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be that guy. So found this. About the time I start bitching about it or have a reason to complain, I think, you know what, you could be shoeing horses right now in 110 degree weather in Las Vegas. And it sure does make life a lot easier in here. Never found a job that I just couldn't wait to go to work to. And every morning I get up and I'm very, very excited to come to here. So.
Have you ever gotten so busy that you can't take any new customers?
Never tell someone that you're too busy. Explain to them how busy you are. But if I got to turn around and extend out to 2-year wait, that's your prerogative. I'm never going to tell you that, hey, I'm not taking orders. Hey, Joe, I'm 18 months out right now, but you'll have the best hat you've ever had. If you're willing to wait that 18 months, now I'm going to leave that in your hands. If you decide not to, but no, I've never been too busy to tell someone, hey, I can't take you on.
So if you're building a hat for a lady in, let's say, Michigan who doesn't really wear hats very often versus somebody, who's in the Western community and wears a hat every day,
Mm-hmm.
How does that change how you build that hat?
It doesn't change how I build the hat. I spend a lot more time on the phone with her or with that person. Okay? How tall are you? How much do you weigh? Do you wear a hat very often? There's a lot of things. I got to get pretty goddamn personal with you. Is your face longer or is it rounder? Everything that I build, I'm trying to turn around and make it fit you. And so if I don't know who you are, just talking to you on the telephone, I can find out a lot of things because we do a lot more than just talking about cowboy hats. Where the hell are you from? You got pecan trees in your house or what do you got? You know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. It all makes a difference. But nothing makes a difference on how I build the hat. Where I'm sending the hat seems to have a difference, whether you're a Texan or whether you're from Arkansas or whether it seems to make a bit of a difference. But the way that it's built is I'm going to build you the exact same for you as I'm going to build it for, so-and-so in New Jersey. It's going to all go the same way about the process. But the shape and all that is going to go after we get done talking. And if you tell me exactly what you want, I'm going to tell you no, or you better call somebody else. If it's not, if our paths don't line up, I'm not going to be your guy. And it used to really bother me. I spend a lot of time being like, okay, I can do that. Okay, I can do this. Okay, I can do that, and really trying to hone that in and make that particular hat. No. If it doesn't going to work for you, it's not. If somebody doesn't walk up and say, that's a beautiful hat, then I didn't do my job. I said that earlier and I mean it. Like, it all has to fit you proportionally along with your attitude. If you've got a resting bitch face, I got a lot of work to do. You know what I mean? Plain and simple. We got to work on that. But I bet I can do it. Just... B.
So all finished up, bows on, and there's that little accent ribbon.
Yep.
All right. And
That's it.
This one's ready to go out?
We got to get a silk in it.
Okay.
And make a foam block and make it fit her head.
Okay. So it still has to be kind of custom molded.
Yep, exactly. That's that.
Yeah, those cow punchers don't like to stand up very on their own, do they?
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Depending on quality?
No, not necessarily dependent on quality. We do it more. Put my hats. In my opinion, hats come in 2 undertones. We've got a brown undertone and we got a black undertone, and that's it. everything falls under one of those, in my personal opinion. Of course, they're broke down into pastels or darks. But I turned around and put everything in as a brown or as a black. So most of my silks, if the hat has a brown undertone, that's the silk that I'm going to put in it if it's got a brown undertone. And that's the one I'm going to put in it if it's got a black undertone.
So a gray hat.
Huh?
A gray hat would get the black.
Black. Natural. What
Brown.
color is a natural going to get?
It's going to get a brown.
It's going to get a brown. And that's where things get crazy. That's the one that throws everybody off, in my personal opinion, partner, is the natural. Because it'll turn around and fall under a brown or under a black.
How's that?
They look, it depends on how you finish it, right? But that hat looks almost gray. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's not. That's a natural. It's the same exact color as that one. It's just how we finish them. So if I turn around and lay black up against this, come with me. That ribbon has an orange tint to it, which gives this a brown or a black undertone, right? We take brown, we lay brown up against it, and all of a sudden that natural turns brown. So it's my favorite color. It's the most versatile one that we got. But when it's all said and done, you're right, we turn around and put a brown ribbon inside of it, or a brown silk inside of it, because that's it.
And so what do you do your naturals in? Do you do them in the beaver blend and
in all three?
All three.
We'll do them in all three, yep.
So you only do the three. You don't do
we
pure
don't
belly?
do staples. We do we do belly, we will not do a staple.
Okay. So 100%.
50% beaver, 100% beaver, 100% beaver belly.
Okay.
Those are the three.
Do you have a belly here that I could take a look at?
That one's 5 years old, but yeah, let me see what I can get scrounged up.
Since you're custom, if somebody says, hey, can I get that purple liner in whatever color hat, you'll do it?
Depends, okay, because I got to get them all. I order all of them in a gross at a time. And so you can, I'll switch them up. Every once in a while, I'll go with blacks and browns. Then I'll turn around and get crazy. We did silver with gold at one time, maroon. So yeah, I've got a bunch just kind of oddballs that we have laying around.
So some of these have the sweat saver?
Yeah, so the different manufacturer. NES used to turn around and put that in there. And that's the only way you could get them was with the plastic. And then when Sheldon turned around and got rid of that and I went to a different manufacturer, we do it without. And I like them better without.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I've seen those at Greeley and Hamblin, so I just kind of, I figured that was kind of a Greeley thing.
No, they all come in plastic there for a long, long time. That was the only way that Sheldon ever made them. And so you had them that way, but now that we're using a different manufacturer, we've got the option to go both ways. And I tried it without. And for a bald-headed guy like me,
yeah, I can't imagine it'd be nice.
Yeah, it's way better without it. Yeah, for sure.
Guys, we intended only to do a walkthrough of his store, but he was so kind and allowed us to see every step of his hat making process. We're going to make this 2 videos. So if you're watching this, check out our YouTube channel. We're going to do a full sit-down podcast interview with Chaz here in a few minutes. And thanks for kind of having us out and letting us see this process. We really appreciate it. And you've been so kind to share your time with us. So.
Well, thank you guys for having me come out, or for inviting yourselves out, I guess is what you pretty much did. You told me you were coming, and I am very, very okay with this. I've never Never done an iPod. What are we doing?
We're doing a podcast. It's
Podcast.
you know,
iPodcast or just podcast?
it's just podcast. It's going to all the podcast servers, but we also do video. So
Right.
it'll be a video interview that we put on our YouTube, and people can watch that. But they'll also be able to, we'll break that into reels. So kind of what you're familiar with, right? Your social media team, they do reels. We'll do reels of probably what we did today, and also of our sit-down interview. But if you ever want to know more about Chaz and his background and how he got started in hats, go check out the other video that will drop right about the same time as this one. So, hey, thanks, buddy. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
All right, guys, we'll see you in the next one.